Max, we
Yes, sir.
mentioned that there have been more than 100 coaching changes across the Lone Star State, and one of them is happening at Belton. Belton, their longtime head coach, Shipley, Bob Shipley, is retiring after a tremendous career, and they have made their move. They have decided to promote from within. They have decided to promote their offensive coordinator to be the new head coach of the Belton Tigers. And here to talk about it is the new head coach of the Belton Tigers. We are joined by Coach Sam Skidmore. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent. How are things in beautiful Belton, Texas?
Oh, things are going good. Things are going real good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, no pressure, but the other team in town seems like they're doing okay. Mary Hardin Baylor, of course, national champions. No pressure or anything.
No pressure at all. Coach Fredenberg over there does a fantastic job. In fact, 2 years ago, we had major construction on our field. We had to replace the turf, and they had to dig down about 8 feet and refill it all. And that was the spring. We had a lot of bad weather. And, well, he personally opened up their beautiful stadium every morning so we could go out there and have practice during spring ball. So he's an awesome guy.
You know, you've bounced around. You've been in this in the Texas high school football game for a while. You've bounced around as an assistant, Wills Point, Brownwood, Cleburne, now at Belton, and now getting your first head coaching job. I'm interested in the transition. You do know these kids, so it's not like you're coming in cold. But for you, I know you've probably talked with coaches across the state. What are you anticipating as far as the transition from assistant coach, offensive coordinator, up to head coach?
You know, I'm excited about the transition. Coach Shipley has really put a lot on my plate over the years, especially since I joined him here in Belton. Gave me a lot of responsibility, a lot of duties inside the program, managing things. And so I'm very familiar with that side of it. So I expect the transition to be pretty smooth. Coach Morgan has been promoted to our AD, was our wide receivers coach. So I worked really well with him, and he's got a lot of experience. He was AD, head football coach at Gatesville. 2001 through 2006. So I'll rely on his expertise on a lot of matters. And, Coach Shipley's still very, very much a part of my life. So anytime I'm unsure of anything, I'm sure I'll be giving him a call.
I want to ask you about that. You've been with him twice now, Brownwood there and then at Belton. He's obviously been a guy that you've learned from and been a mentor to you. What have you learned from him that you're going to take with you into this new gig?
The most important thing, and Coach Shipley always preached this first day on the job, was, it's about the kids. And he does a really good job of developing those relationships with kids and really being a part of their lives. And one thing he held true from the first time I met him was you can't take withdrawals out of kids if you don't put deposits in. And so, I've learned a lot about that aspect of it. When kids love you and they know you're invested in them, they're going to play hard for you. So.
Absolutely. We're talking with Sam Skidmore, the new head coach of the Belton Tigers, here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. And I want to talk about the other side of it, is that Belton is a place where they take football very seriously. This is not some nowheresville town. For a first head coaching job, and especially following a guy who is as esteemed as Bob Shipley, there's going to be a little bit of pressure, maybe. What do you think of the expectations that you're stepping into?
Oh, the expectations are really high. We had a very successful year this year. Every year we've gotten better. We've made it to the playoffs all 3 years. I kind of feel like, if expectations aren't very high, is that a place you really want to go and work and want to compete at? So, I'm excited about the expectations. I think our kids can match them. We have a great staff. Our defensive coordinator, Coach Munson, I've worked with him in Brownwood. He does an awesome job. And, I'm really excited about the expectations in our kids.
I want to ask you about, every coach puts their own stamp on the program. Is there anything we can expect different from Belton football going forward? Or is there going to be a lot more, more of the same, which has obviously worked for you guys?
It's going to be more of the same. We're going to, I'll have to put my own little wrinkles in here and there and different philosophies on things. But, Coach Shipley's let me run the offense for the last 3 years, and we've been very successful offensively. And, that's going to stay the same for the most part. We'll bring some new staff in offensively, and, they're going to have their input. We always say it's our offense. It's not my offense. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Munson, the defense improved greatly last year, and Coach Munson did a great job with them. Those kids played extremely hard. They played a great football game against Allen in the second round, so that's going to stay the same. And we've always prided ourselves on being very, very organized and putting a lot of time in special teams, and we're going to continue to do that, being very sound.
You are an offensive guy. I want to give you an opportunity to brag on a couple of your kids. One of them, your outstanding quarterback, Peyton Mansell, has a tremendous senior season, an Iowa commit, a guy who I know is the folks up there in Hawkeye country are really excited to get up there. What can you tell maybe Iowa fans about the kid that they're getting in your outstanding quarterback, Peyton Mansell?
First off, he is a tremendous competitor. I mean, he's one of the most fierce competitors I've ever been around. I've been around some good ones in Brownwood and in Cleburne and here, but I've never seen any kid that wants to win and wills a team to win as bad as he does. And he's got a great arm on him. He makes great decisions. He was a catalyst of our offense. He rushed for 1,100 yards this year. Also threw for 2,700. I mean, he's a playmaking jack, and he's when it comes crunch time, he wants the ball in his hands. Getting South Grand Prairie, he had 190 yards rushing, and he's just the best thing about him. He's gonna fight, and he's a guy you want the game, and he's gonna make it happen.
And I want to ask you about the other guy who really made a lot of that offense go. Your running back, Davion Peoples, a guy who I know he's, I feel like, and this is just me, and you can by all means tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think he's getting under-recruited. This is a guy who I think is a guy who can be a playmaker at the next level. What can you tell folks about your outstanding running back, Davion Peoples?
Oh, Day-Day, he goes by Day-Day. Mm-hmm. He did so many things for us. He was fantastic in the backfield. He made one of the greatest runs I've ever seen 2 years ago against Rowlett in the first round. Late in the game, he broke a 98-yard touchdown run, breaking about 6 tackles. And the thing people don't realize about him is, we spread him out this year in our 5-wide package and threw him the ball quite a bit. And he is an incredible receiver when the ball's in the air. You can't cover him man-to-man. There's no way. Out of 10 throws to him in man coverage, he's going to catch 9 of them, no doubt. But, we got him set to go. He's going to go down to Blinn down in Brenham, and I think he's got such an upside, and he's such a fantastic young man and just a fantastic playmaker. The sky's the limit with him.
We're talking to new Belton head coach Sam Skidmore here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. And on the other side, now that you're the head coach, it's not just all offense. You're going to be on the defense, and I imagine you're pretty excited to have the services of Garrison Vaughn one more time. This kid was really impressive. 103 tackles, 5 interceptions there at the free safety spot. Garrison Vaughn, I know you folks a little bit on the offense, but I'm sure you're pretty happy to have him back in the fold.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy to have him back in the fold, and we'll probably look at using him a little bit offensively, but he's just such a catalyst for that defense. He's a playmaker. He's that top end guy. Against Killeen last year, he had 4 interceptions in a game, 2 returned for touchdowns. He's growing into being a really fantastic leader on top of things, and he's just one of those guys that he's back there. And he's got to come down to strike you. He's going to make plays on the ball. He's a great kick returner for us. I think he averaged about 25 yards a return in the kick return game, and he's just an all-around playmaking jack. So we're very excited to have him back there, and I expect big things out of our defense. We got a defensive end returning, Logan Hall, that you'll probably hear more about as it comes along. He's probably going to start – his recruiting's going to start picking up here pretty quick. And those guys got better all year long last year. A few schematic changes happened last year, but technique-wise, I expect big things from our defense.
And finally, Coach, obviously whenever a program gets a new coach, the message you want to send your kids is important right off the bat. And for you, obviously having a rapport with these guys and being around these guys for a while, that gives you a little bit of an advantage. But what's your message to your kids going forward now that you're changing roles and they're going to have to view you not as an assistant but as a head coach?
My message has been since day one when I told them about the move on Monday was, we're going to be a physically and mentally tough football team. We're going to play smash mouth football, and we're going to be tough, and we preach toughness to them through off season. We grind them in off season, and our kids respond very well to that. And, there's no better compliment a coach can get than after a game the opposing coach said they out physicaled us. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we're going to go for week in, week out, and we're going to preach to our kids as being physically and mentally tough.
He is Sam Skidmore. He is the new head coach of the Belton Tigers. Coach, congratulations once again. Best of luck down the road, and enjoy your off season. I know there's really no such thing, but try to relax before fall, and I'm sure we'll be talking.
Thank you, sir, and appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely. There he goes, Sam Skidmore, new head coach, the Belton Tigers. Big shoes to fill. Yeah, but I think he knows it.
Sounds like he's ready.
But
That's awesome.
But I'll tell you. I mean, you talk about a protege of Bob Shipley, right? I mean, a guy who has learned.
It sounds like he soaked it up.
Who's had the tutelage of one of the better coaches in Texas high school football.
Yeah.
A guy who's been around him for a while. A relatively young guy, but this is a guy who's going to come in and look. Belton's serious football. This is not, this isn't the best.
And they're right there on the edge right now. The last few years, they're just right there.
Yeah,
they
go
push over.
They go 8-4 last year, and they do have to replace Peyton Mansell and Day Peoples, but overall, you got to feel good about the direction of Belton, and especially having that kind of consistency throughout with the coaching. So, thanks once again to Coach Skidmore from Belton for hopping on with us.